In the unforgiving expanse of the Arctic, during the height of the Cold War, a Soviet submarine embarks on a classified mission beneath the ice. The crew anticipates the usual perils of deep-sea navigation, but what they encounter defies all expectations. The metallic taste of recycled air fills my mouth as I complete my morning inspection of the K-317 Pantera. 20 years in the Soviet Navy hasn't made me love the stale atmosphere of submarine service, but I've learned to find comfort in routine. The gentle hum of machinery vibrates through my boots as I move through the narrow corridors, nodding to crewmen who snap to attention at my passing. At ease, I mutter, checking my watch. 6 a.m., another day beneath the ice. The control room buzzes with quiet efficiency as I enter. Lieutenant Marina Sokolova adjusts her headphones at the sonar station, her fingers dancing across dials with practiced precision. Our eyes meet briefly, hers steady, professional, though I notice dark circles forming beneath them. "Report, Lieutenant," I say, accepting a steaming cup of black tea from Ensign Yuri Petrov, his young face eager for approval on his first deep-sea deployment. "All clear, Commander Orlov," Marina responds. "Water temperature holding at -2 degrees Celsius. No contacts within range." Chief Engineer Pavel Morozov hunches over the reactor control panel, muttering calculations under his breath. His perpetual frown deepens when he notices me watching. "Cooling system acting up again," he grumbles. "Nothing critical, but I don't like it." Dr. Irina Volkov stands in the corner, clipboard in hand, observing the crew with clinical detachment. She catches my glance and approaches. "The men are holding up well, Commander," she says quietly, though I've noticed increased irritability in the 3rd week, common in these confined conditions. I gather my officers for the daily briefing, feeling the weight of responsibility press down like the Arctic ice above us. Our orders remain unchanged. Monitor NATO submarine activity, collect intelligence on American naval movements, and remain undetected at all costs. I pause, meeting each gaze. The Americans are testing new sonar technology. Stay alert. As they disperse to their stations, I catch Marina staring oddly at her display, repeatedly adjusting her headphones as if struggling to hear something elusive. When she notices my attention, she quickly returns to her work. 3 days pass in the suffocating rhythm of submarine life. Sleep, eat, monitor, report. The crushing pressure of the Arctic Ocean becomes a constant companion, like a predator waiting for weakness. I'm reviewing navigational charts when Marina calls me to her station, her voice tight with confusion. "Commander, I'm picking up something unusual." I lean over her shoulder, the faint scent of standard issue soap barely masking 3 days without proper showers. The sonar display shows rhythmic pulses unlike anything in our recognition manuals. "American?" I ask, though something about the pattern makes my skin prickle. Marina shakes her head. "It doesn't match any known submarine or marine life signature, sir. It's too regular. Almost like what, Lieutenant?" "Like it's communicating," she whispers, then straightens, embarrassed by her unprofessional suggestion. I order passive listening protocols and return to my duties, but unease follows me like a shadow. That night, the first equipment malfunctions begin. Communications emit bursts of static. Lights flicker in sequence down corridors. Pavel reports minor fluctuations in reactor temperature within safe parameters, but unusual nonetheless. "It's this damned cold," he insists. "Metal contracts differently under extreme pressure." I accept his explanation because alternatives are unthinkable. During midnight watch, the corridor outside my quarters empties as shifts change. In that moment of solitude, I hear it, my name whispered through the ventilation system.
"Victor."
I spin around, heart suddenly pounding. The corridor stretches empty in both directions. The sound of dripping water echoes against the hull, though all systems report dry. I press my palm against the cold metal wall, feeling the submarine's steady pulse beneath my fingers. Logic dictates it was merely the sound of pipes settling, or exhaustion playing tricks. Yet, as I make my log entry, I cannot shake the sensation of being watched by eyes I cannot see. 1 week into our patrol, I'm woken by alarms blaring through the submarine. I rush to the control room, still buttoning my uniform jacket. "Report!" I demand. "It's Lieutenant Sokolova," Petrov stammers. She collapsed at her station. Marina lies on the floor, headphones still connected to the sonar station. Dr. Volkov kneels beside her, checking vitals, while 2 crewmen stand awkwardly nearby. As I approach, Marina's eyes flutter open, focusing on something none of us can see. "It's talking to me, Commander," she whispers before losing consciousness again. Dr. Volkov administers a sedative. "Stress-induced psychosis," she diagnoses confidently. "I'll monitor her in medical." As they carry Marina away, I notice her fingers still tapping rhythmically against the stretcher, the same cadence as the mysterious sonar signal. By the second week, the crew's mental state deteriorates with alarming speed. Pavel reports hearing mechanical failures that diagnostics can't confirm. 2 crewmen come to blows over missing ration bars neither actually owned. Petrov claims to see shadowy figures in the torpedo bay. "It's nothing unusual," Dr. Volkov assures me in private. "Confined spaces, prolonged isolation, constant pressure, classic conditions for submarine psychosis. The brain manufactures threats when under stress." I nod, documenting everything in the ship's log with clinical detachment. Soviet commanders don't show weakness. Yet later, alone in my quarters, doubt creeps in like the cold. My personal radio crackles unexpectedly. Through layers of static, I hear a voice. Not Russian, not English, not any language I recognize. Yet somehow I understand its meaning. "Open your eyes, Victor." The voice bypasses my ears, resonating directly inside my skull. I jerk toward my small mirror and freeze. My reflection grins back with an impossible width. Teeth too numerous, eyes too dark. Then it's gone. My own shocked face, staring back. I splash cold water on my face, hands trembling slightly. Just exhaustion, I mutter to myself. But the words ring hollow in the cramped metal box that suddenly feels like a coffin. The navigation system fails without warning. Alarms blare as we drift off course, the helmsman fighting unresponsive controls. Before I can issue orders, we impact something massive. The submarine groans, metal screaming as we scrape along an unseen obstacle. Men stumble, equipment crashes to the floor. "Full stop," I shout. "Damage report." Pavel's face has drained of color as he studies the instruments. "Commander, we're inside an underwater ice cave. The impact damaged our hull in sections 3 and 5. Minor flooding. Contained for now." Sonar confirms his assessment. Somehow, we've drifted into a massive cavity beneath an ice shelf, the entrance now blocked by shifting ice formations. "Can we blast free?" I demand. Pavel shakes his head. "The ice above us is too thick. We'd risk collapsing the entire structure. Repairs will take days, and our oxygen." He doesn't finish. He doesn't need to. I order emergency protocols and attempt to radio our position to Naval Command. The communication system returns only the now familiar rhythmic pulses, louder than before, almost drowning out my transmission. Hours later, Dr. Volkov finds me studying navigation charts. "Marina is missing," she reports tensely. "She's not in medical bay." The search party finds Marina in the sonar room, headphones on, staring at the screen with frightening intensity. She speaks softly, as if conversing with someone. "Who are you talking to, Lieutenant?" I ask, removing her headphones. The sound hits me immediately. a voice speaking directly into my mind, bypassing my ears. It shows me images of my childhood home in Vladivostok, the wooden dock where my father taught me to fish, the hidden scar on my lower back from falling through ice at age 9. Secrets I've never told anyone. I recoil, dropping the headphones, momentarily losing my composure before the crew. That night, unable to sleep, I make a decision that violates protocol and possibly sanity itself. We will investigate the signal's source. As I zip up my thermal suit for external hull inspection, I know I'm leading my men into something beyond standard military threats. The freezing water hits like a physical blow as we exit through the airlock. Even through our thermal suits, the cold seeps in, hungry for warmth. Our team, myself, Pavel, and 2 seamen, move cautiously along the hull, tethered to prevent drifting into the abyss below. Our helmet lamps cut weak yellow paths through water that seems unnaturally dark, as if absorbing light rather than reflecting it. Visibility extends barely 2 meters ahead, forcing us to stay close to the submarine's metal skin. Check all exterior sensors and communications equipment, I order through the comm system, my voice sounding tinny and distant in my own ears. As we work our way toward the propeller, our communication devices fill with whispers and what sounds disturbingly like laughter. At first, I blame equipment malfunction, but when Pavel freezes beside me, I know he hears it too. Commander. Pavel's voice shakes slightly. The propeller. Something's wrong. I swim to his position, the water's resistance making every movement a battle. What I see defies explanation. Crystalline ice formations grow across the propeller blades in impossible patterns, fractal structures too perfect to be natural. More disturbing, they seem to shift slightly when not directly observed, growing in the corner of my vision, but static when viewed head-on. A scream tears through the comm system, the sound so primal it barely seems human. I spin toward its source. Seaman Baranov has drifted slightly from the hull, his lamp aimed into the darkness beyond. I push through the water to reach him, finding him rigid, his face behind the mask frozen in terror. Following his gaze into the darkness, at first I see nothing. Then movement catches my eye. A humanoid figure floating motionless about 10 meters away. Tall, unnaturally thin, wearing what appears to be an old-fashioned suit. I cannot clearly see its face in the murky water, but I sense it smiling hideously, its grin too wide for any human face. I blink, and it vanishes. Baranov begins convulsing, his body thrashing against his tether. We rush him back inside, but something follows us. A presence I feel rather than see, slipping through the airlock like a shadow between light fixtures. Inside, we find chaos. Half the crew reports hearing voices commanding them to open the external hatches. Dr. Volkov restrains Marina in the medical bay, where she has clawed her own eyes bloody. I couldn't bear to see his smile anymore. Marina sobs as I enter. He keeps showing me what's coming. Petrov has barricaded himself in the weapons room, ranting about American psychic weapons. As I try to restore order, the lights fail completely, plunging us into darkness. Emergency systems engage seconds later, bathing everything in blood-red light. That's when I see them. Crude drawings scratched into multiple bulkheads, the same elongated face with an impossibly wide grin. Drawings that weren't there before. Hours later, as the crew fractures further, I retreat to my quarters to review our options. In my classified files, I discover a document I have no memory of receiving. The heading reads, Project Echo, classified level 9. My security clearance is only level 7. I read it anyway, my blood turning to ice with each paragraph. Project Echo, an experimental Soviet psychoacoustic weapon designed to induce hallucinations and paranoia in enemy submarine crews. Our patrol mission was actually a field test, with Naval Command monitoring the psychological effects remotely. But something went wrong. The final pages contained frantic notes about the frequency accidentally attracting non-baseline consciousness entities, a scientific euphemism that makes no sense until I remember the figure floating in the dark water. I confront Dr. Volkov with the document. She doesn't deny it. I was briefed on the experiment, but not its full scope, she admits, her clinical facade cracking. The signal was supposed to create mild hallucinations, test the psychological breaking points of an isolated crew. She pauses, rubbing her temples. But something went wrong with the signal. Instead of simply creating hallucinations, it opened what the scientists called a perceptual gateway. A gateway to what? I demand. Her eyes meet mine, fear finally visible. To whatever exists in the spaces between what humans can normally perceive. Something that's been waiting to be noticed. The rational part of me rejects this explanation, but I can no longer deny the evidence of my senses. Pavel volunteers to repair the communications array, hoping to contact Naval Command for extraction protocols. When he returns hours later, his face is ashen. I saw myself in the equipment room, he whispers. Dead. Decaying. Like I'd been there for weeks. He laughs hollowly. The corpse spoke to me, said this has all happened before, will happen again. Before I can respond, alarms blare from the engine room. Pavel has locked himself inside and deliberately caused a radiation leak. It's the only way to kill what's inside us, he shouts through the intercom before cutting communication. The resulting contamination forces us to seal off that section with Pavel still inside. As captain, I face an impossible choice. Attempt a dangerous emergency ascent through the ice with damaged systems, or wait for rescue that might never come. All while something inhuman stalks our corridors and whispers in our minds. 3 more crew members are gone by morning. They flooded a compartment, choosing drowning over whatever was happening to their minds. Their faces in death were peaceful, the first peace I've seen in days. I gather the remaining survivors in the control room. Only 8 of us remain. Myself, Dr. Volkov, Marina, now sedated and restrained, Petrov, who hasn't spoken in days, and 4 increasingly unstable crewmen. The emergency lights flicker continuously now, and the temperature has dropped to near freezing, despite the environmental systems running at maximum. We have one option left, I tell them, my breath fogging in the cold air. We'll use our last torpedo to break through the ice above us. Nobody argues. Hope, even suicidal hope, is better than waiting for whatever is happening to claim us all. As the men prepare the torpedo, Dr. Volkov pulls me aside. Her hands tremble as she shows me her notebook. Every page is filled with the same phrase written thousands of times in increasingly erratic handwriting. The grinning man comes when called. During the Cold War, both sides conducted psychic research, she explains quietly. The Americans had their Stargate project. We had Department 12. Both accidentally tapped into something ancient. She glances nervously over her shoulder. Indigenous Arctic peoples called it the one who waits beneath the ice. Our signal awakened it. Her words should sound like madness, but after what I've seen, madness seems more rational than reality. What does it want? I ask. To wear us, she whispers. Like clothing. As preparations continue, I begin experiencing time slips, moments where I wake up to find myself in different parts of the submarine with no memory of how I got there. During one episode, I find myself staring at the reactor control panel, my hands poised to trigger a meltdown. In another, I'm standing over Marina with a scalpel, her restraints partially undone. Most disturbingly, I discover log entries in my handwriting, detailing orders I never gave and events I don't remember. The handwriting starts as mine, but subtly changes, becoming more angular, the letters stretching unnaturally across the page. The last entry reads, "The ice is not a prison, it is a door." In my quarters, I stare at my reflection, no longer trusting what I see. "What are you?" I ask the mirror. My reflection grins, that same impossible width, and replies in my voice,
"I am what notices when you are noticed. I am the attention that comes when you fall into the dark."
My face in the mirror elongates slightly, the smile extending past where human lips should end. "And now you've called so loudly, Victor Mikhailovich Orlov. Your fear is delicious." I stumble back, knocking over my chair. When I look again, it's just my haggard face, staring back. In my final moments of clarity, I make two decisions. First, I record the truth of our situation in the submarine's black box and my personal recorder. Second, I lock the ship's nuclear self-destruct sequence to my personal code. Whatever this entity is, it cannot be allowed to reach the surface with us. "Commander, torpedo ready," calls Petrov. The first words he's spoken in days. His voice sounds wrong, slightly off-pitch. I turn to find all 7 survivors watching me with identical expressions, heads tilted at the same unnatural angle, lips curved in the same slight smile. "You can't stop what's already inside," they say in perfect unison, their voices overlapping in a horrible chorus. I lunge for the self-destruct panel. As my fingers fly across the keypad entering my code, I feel something cold and alien pushing into my mind, trying to extract the numbers before I can finish. The last thing I see before pressing the confirmation button is my own hand, fingers impossibly elongated, skin stretched too tight across the knuckles. My hand, but no longer only mine. Cold, endless cold. I regain consciousness on the ice, somehow expelled from the submarine during the explosion. My exposure suit is torn, frostbite already claiming my extremities as I crawl across the Arctic surface. Behind me, a jagged hole in the ice shows no sign of the Pantera, just black water slowly refreezing in the brutal air. Above, the aurora borealis dances across the night sky like green fingers reaching down. My mind is fractured, memories jumbled between what I experienced and what the entity showed me. I remember giving the order to detonate the self-destruct sequence, but also remember stopping it. I recall watching my crew tear each other apart, but also leading them safely to the surface. I remember dying, multiple times, multiple ways. The cold brings clarity as hypothermia sets in. I understand now what the entity wanted, not our bodies, but our perceptions. Our ability to perceive reality is what allows it entry into our world. We weren't its prison, we were its portal. With fingers nearly frozen solid, I use my last strength to write this account in the snow, hoping someone will find it before the ice claims it. My final coherent thought is wondering if I ever left the submarine at all, or if this is just another reality the grinning man wants me to perceive. Perhaps I am still there, trapped beneath the ice, smiling. Excerpt from NATO intelligence report classified. 3 months after the disappearance of Soviet submarine K-317 Pantera, Norwegian research vessel Polar Bjorn discovered the frozen body of a man in a damaged Soviet naval exposure suit on an ice floe west of Franz Josef Land. The body was identified as Commander Victor Orlov through dental records. The waterproof recorder found clutched in the deceased's hand contained partial logs detailing a Soviet submarine lost with all hands due to mechanical failure and oxygen deprivation. Standard Cold War tragedy. However, certain inconsistencies trouble our analysts. The recording contains mostly static and what appears to be delirious ramblings, but beneath that, sophisticated audio analysis reveals a rhythmic pulsing pattern, now emanating from that section of the Arctic. Expedition teams report unusual ice formations and inexplicable equipment failures in the region. Most concerning, in the final seconds of the recovered audio, beneath layers of distortion, Orloff's voice can be heard calmly reciting a series of coordinates followed by the words,
He wears the faces of those who've seen him. He speaks through dead men's tongues. I am not Victor Orloff. Victor died screaming. I am the one who grins. And now I've found a way out.
The transmission ends with the sound of something inhuman drawing breath.